We might have been looking at the Tesla Semi the wrong way. It's not a burden. It could actually be Tesla's flagship product in the years ahead. Elon Musk has called the Tesla Semi a money machine many times because it's the electric truck with the lowest energy consumption per mile. We bet you'd be hard-pressed to find another truck that costs only about 15 cents per mile to run. That's why Elon Musk is confident that, in the future, freight companies could actually lose money if they don't switch to electric trucks like Semi. For years, that claim was met with plenty of skepticism in the trucking industry. After all, traditional trucking has relied on diesel engines for decades, and many people believed electric trucks couldn't compete on cost, durability, or long-haul capability. But recent real-world testing is starting to show that Tesla's CEO may not have been exaggerating at all. So just how efficient and how insanely cost-effective is the Tesla Semi? The clearest proof comes from a real-world pilot program conducted by the logistics company Moan Transport in Texas. In this program, the Tesla Semi wasn't tested in a lab or under tightly controlled ideal conditions. Instead, it was put to work exactly the way a commercial truck would be used every day, hauling real cargo, driving long routes, and operating continuously within the company's logistics network. Over the course of the trial, the truck logged more than 4,700 miles. What's remarkable is that the results actually exceeded Tesla's original expectations. So what happened? According to data released by Moan Transport, the Tesla Semi achieved an average energy consumption of just about 1.64 kilowatt-hours per mile. That's extremely impressive, considering Tesla originally targeted around 1.7 kilowatt-hours per mile for the truck. In other words, in real-world operation, the vehicle actually performed better than what the manufacturer promised. But what really caught the trucking industry's attention isn't just the energy efficiency. It's the operating cost that comes from that electricity usage. In Texas, the average commercial electricity price is currently around 9.12 cents per kilowatt-hour. Multiply that by 1.64 kilowatt-hours per mile, and the energy cost to run a Tesla Semi comes out to roughly 15 cents per mile. That number might sound small, but in the trucking business, where each truck can drive hundreds of thousands of miles per year, a difference of just a few dozen cents per mile can completely reshape a company's cost structure. To really see the difference, we need to compare it with traditional diesel trucks, which still dominate the global freight industry. A typical Class 8 diesel truck usually gets about 6 to 7 miles per gallon. If we take an average of 6.5 miles per gallon and combine it with the average diesel price in the Gulf Coast region of about $3.11 per gallon, the fuel cost for a diesel truck comes out to roughly 48 cents per mile. Put those numbers side by side and the gap becomes obvious. Tesla Semi about 15 cents per mile, and a diesel truck nearly 48 cents per mile. So what does that actually mean? Okay, it means the energy cost of the Tesla Semi is nearly 70% lower than a traditional diesel truck. In the logistics industry, that's an enormous gap. A long-haul truck can easily drive around 100,000 miles per year. If it runs on diesel at roughly 48 cents per mile, a company would spend close to $48,000 per year on fuel alone. But if that same truck were a Tesla Semi, running at about 15 cents per mile, the electricity cost for the same distance would be only around $15,000. That means each truck could save about $33,000 every single year. When you scale that up to an entire fleet, the economic advantage becomes even clearer. A transportation company operating 100 long-haul trucks could save more than $3 million per year just from lower energy costs. Over the lifetime of a truck, typically 10 years or more, the total savings could reach tens of millions of dollars. Yeah, that's why when Elon Musk calls the Tesla Semi a money machine, he's not just talking about technology or performance. He's talking about a completely new economic model for the trucking industry. And the benefits don't stop at fuel costs. The Tesla Semi also has the potential to significantly reduce maintenance expenses. Traditional diesel trucks contain a huge number of complex mechanical components, multi-gear transmissions, exhaust after-treatment systems, fuel pumps, turbochargers, and many other moving parts. All of these require regular maintenance and can fail after long periods of use. By contrast, an electric drivetrain is much simpler, with far fewer moving parts. That means less wear and tear, a lower chance of mechanical failure, and significantly reduced maintenance costs over time. There's also another major advantage. We mean energy price stability. You know, diesel prices on the global market can swing wildly due to geopolitical tensions. For example, conflicts involving the US and Iran, and you already know how tense those situations can get. Sorry, we won't go too deep into it here, but the bottom line is that fuel prices are likely to become even more volatile in the future. Electricity, on the other hand, tends to be much more stable, especially when companies can sign long-term power purchase agreements. That allows trucking companies to predict their operating costs more accurately and plan their finances with far greater confidence. Okay, the operating cost numbers are clearly the strongest proof that the Tesla Semi could truly be a money machine. But what is it actually like for the driver inside the truck? Is the experience really as good as Tesla claims in the trucking industry? Economic efficiency is crucial, but driver experience matters just as much. A truck might be extremely cost-efficient, but if it leaves drivers exhausted, is difficult to use, or lacks comfort, it's unlikely to be adopted at scale by transportation companies. Earlier versions of the Tesla Semi still had a few shortcomings. That's why, with the release of the newer version, Tesla introduced a series of notable upgrades inside the cabin, aiming to optimize the workspace for long-haul truck drivers. In the earlier prototype, the Tesla Semi already attracted attention by replacing the traditional instrument cluster with two 15-inch displays. But in the new production version, Tesla has upgraded those screens to 16 inches, giving drivers more display space and better visibility. These two screens act as the central control hub for the entire truck. All critical information from speed, energy levels, trip data, and navigation to safety alerts is displayed in real time on a digital interface. This creates a major difference compared to traditional diesel trucks, where the dashboard still mostly relies on analog gauges and small information displays. Inside the Tesla Semi, almost the entire driving experience is fully digital, much like the approach Tesla has used in its electric cars for years. Not only does this make it easier for drivers to monitor the vehicle's condition, but the large screen system also allows Tesla to push software updates remotely, adding new features or improving the interface over time. In other words, the truck starts to feel less like a traditional freight vehicle and more like a modern piece of technology on wheels. Along with the new display system, Tesla has also significantly upgraded surrounding visibility by equipping the truck with a network of up to 10 cameras. In the world of heavy-duty trucks, visibility is one of the most critical challenges. These massive vehicles, often stretching dozens of meters in length, tend to have multiple dangerous blind spots, especially when maneuvering in tight spaces like seaports, warehouses, or crowded logistics hubs. The new camera system on the Tesla Semi creates a near 360-degree view around the truck. All the video feeds from these cameras are displayed directly on the two large screens inside the cabin, allowing the driver to monitor every area around the vehicle with just a quick glance. Compared to traditional designs that rely heavily on large side mirrors, the camera system provides a wider field of view, significantly reduces blind spots, and works seamlessly with advanced safety features. More importantly, this system also serves as a key foundation for advanced driver assistance systems and potentially even autonomous driving technology, something Elon Musk has mentioned many times before. In Tesla's long-term vision, cameras essentially act as the eyes of the vehicle, helping it recognize its surroundings and respond more intelligently to what's happening on the road. Another notable upgrade inside the cabin is the addition of a driver attention monitoring camera. This technology is becoming increasingly common in modern vehicles, especially those equipped with advanced driver assistance systems. The camera tracks the driver's eye movement and level of attention, ensuring that the driver remains focused on the road while assistance systems are active. If the system detects that the driver is distracted or looking away from the road for too long, it can immediately issue a warning. This helps improve safety while still allowing drivers to benefit from the truck's advanced driving technologies. This addition shows that Tesla is moving toward a new operating model, where automation technology and human oversight work side by side to improve overall safety. In the long-haul trucking industry, where drivers often spend hours behind the wheel without a break, monitoring driver alertness can significantly reduce the risk of accidents. Beyond the high-tech upgrades, Tesla has also paid attention to smaller but extremely practical details for drivers. One of those improvements is the redesigned side window of the cabin. In the earlier prototype, the window design was highly aerodynamic, but some drivers worried it might not be very practical in everyday situations. In real-world trucking, drivers frequently need to interact directly with workers at warehouse gates, toll booths, or loading docks. The new window design allows drivers to easily reach their arm outside when necessary, improving convenience while still maintaining the cabin's modern look. Tesla has also relocated the cup holders inside the cabin. It might sound like a tiny change, but for drivers who spend long hours behind the wheel, small ergonomic tweaks can make a big difference. In the previous version, the cup holders were positioned fairly low, forcing drivers to lean down to grab their drink. In the new version, The cup holders have been moved higher and closer to the control area, allowing drivers to grab a drink more easily without taking their eyes off the road for too long. The storage space inside the cabin has also been expanded. Yeah, the Tesla Semi already has a fairly unique layout, with the driver's seat positioned in the center and two walkways on either side, which creates a more spacious feel compared to many traditional trucks. In the updated version, Tesla has made better use of this space by adding larger storage compartments near the cup holder area. This gives drivers extra room to store essentials like phones, notebooks, tablets, or other electronic devices they rely on during daily work. Finally, Tesla has also integrated wireless phone charging directly into the cabin, in an era where smartphones have become an essential work tool for many drivers. From communicating with dispatchers and tracking routes to managing delivery schedules, having built-in wireless charging eliminates messy cables and ensures drivers' phones stay powered throughout the trip. We've seen a lot of comments claiming that Tesla will never be able to compete with the big truck manufacturers because the Tesla Semi supposedly can't operate in Europe, a massive tractor truck market that generates huge profits. Okay, to be fair, for many years Tesla has focused mainly on the North American market, where highways are long, freight infrastructure is spacious, and trucking regulations are relatively flexible. And to be even more honest, even in the US, Tesla is still behind many competitors in terms of adoption within the trucking industry. The simple reason is production volume. The number of Tesla Semis built so far is still very small. To date, the total number of Semis produced hasn't even reached 1,000 units yet. But last week, we got our first real look at Tesla's mass production line for the Semi, and it looks both impressive and large in scale. Tesla plans to start ramping up semi-production this year, and Elon Musk has confirmed that the company is also considering bringing the Tesla Semi to Europe and possibly even manufacturing the truck in Germany. That idea alone immediately challenges the long-held assumption that the Tesla Semi will only operate in North America. According to the plan Elon Musk mentioned, the Tesla Semi could appear in the European market as early as next year, if everything goes smoothly, as usual. That announcement quickly sparked a lot of discussion across the trucking industry. Europe is one of the largest and most competitive truck markets in the world, dominated for decades by long-established manufacturers. Companies like Volvo Trucks, Daimler Truck, Mercedes-Benz and DAF Trucks already have powerful manufacturing networks, distribution channels, and after-sales service systems across the region. In fact, over the past few years, many European manufacturers have also begun launching their own electric trucks as part of the transition toward zero-emission transportation. That means if Tesla truly wants to bring the Tesla Semi to Europe, it will face a far more intense competitive environment than it does in the US. However, producing the Tesla Semi in Berlin actually makes a lot of sense. Instead of exporting trucks from the US to Europe, building them at Gigafactory Berlin-Brandenburg would help Tesla reduce shipping costs, avoid tariff barriers, and most importantly, adapt the truck's design to European infrastructure and regulations. Because in reality, the trucking environment in Europe is very different from the United States. In the US, heavy-duty trucks typically use a long-nose design, where the front of the truck extends forward. This allows the engine to sit in front of the cabin, making maintenance easier and giving drivers a larger, more spacious cabin. On top of that, US regulations usually limit the length of the trailer, while the tractor itself isn't restricted as strictly. This gives manufacturers much more freedom when designing the truck's front end and overall layout. Meanwhile, in the European Union, truck size regulations are much stricter, especially when it comes to the total length of the tractor and trailer combination, which is capped at a fixed limit. Because of this, most European trucks use a cab-over design, meaning the cabin sits directly above the front axle instead of having a long front nose. This layout helps maximize the allowed vehicle length so that more space can be dedicated to cargo. This fundamental difference is exactly why the Tesla Semi, with its distinctive long-nose American truck design, could face challenges if it wants to operate in Europe without major adjustments. Beyond overall length, the truck's size also needs to be reconsidered to fit European roads, which are often narrower and filled with more roundabouts, unlike the long, straight highways commonly found in the United States. Based on technical data analysis, the Tesla Semi currently has a wheelbase of roughly 200 to 230 inches. Depending on the battery configuration, that size works well for US operating conditions, but it could become problematic when navigating the tight roundabouts commonly found in European cities. Because of that, if Tesla truly wants to manufacture the Tesla Semi in Berlin, the company may need to redesign the truck's chassis, potentially shortening the wheelbase to around 150 inches. And yeah, that's not a simple task. The Tesla Semi's massive battery pack occupies a large portion of the space under the chassis, so shrinking the frame while maintaining a large battery capacity would require entirely new engineering solutions. Another factor frequently mentioned by industry experts is the driver sleeper cabin. The current Tesla Semi is primarily designed as a day cab, meaning the cabin is intended for daytime driving and does not include a sleeping compartment behind the seats. In Europe, however, driver working hour regulations are much stricter. Truck drivers are typically allowed to drive a maximum of about 9 hours per day, followed by at least 11 hours of continuous rest. In practice, that makes a sleeper cab almost essential for long-haul trucks operating across Europe. If Tesla wants the Tesla Semi to truly compete with trucks from companies like Volvo Trucks or Mercedes-Benz Trucks in that market, the company may need to introduce a sleeper cab version specifically designed for Europe. With the Tesla Semi's overall height of around 13 feet, integrating a compact sleeping system behind the cabin is theoretically very possible. Some experts even suggest Tesla could design a smart fold-out bed system, transforming the cabin into a small but comfortable resting space, almost like a miniature mobile living space for the driver. However, bringing the Tesla Semi into production in Berlin would come with several significant challenges. We think the first issue is manufacturing infrastructure. So why do we think like that? Yeah, even though Tesla unveiled the Tesla Semi back in 2017, large-scale production in the United States is still ramping up. That means setting up an entirely new production line in Europe would require considerable time and investment. The second challenge involves battery supply. The Tesla Semi is believed to use a battery pack several times larger than the one in a Tesla Model 3. Producing batteries at scale in Europe is still facing difficulties, particularly due to high energy costs and strict environmental regulations. If Tesla ends up importing batteries from factories outside Europe, transportation costs and import tariffs could drive up the overall price of the truck. And finally, one of the biggest challenges is charging infrastructure. The Tesla Semi is designed to use Tesla's megacharger system, which can deliver extremely high power levels over 1 megawatt. To deploy this charging network across Europe, Tesla would need to coordinate with multiple countries and significantly upgrade existing power grids. That's not a simple task, especially at a time when many European countries are already facing increasing pressure on their energy systems. Do you think Tesla can overcome these challenges to bring the Semi to Europe? Drop a comment below, and that's all we wanted to share today. We're excited about the new developments for the Tesla Semi. Thank you for watching.